Good day, everybody. For today's video, we will be discussing on the topic that will be included for the coverage of the semifinals, which will be on lipids. So, to start with, let us go directly into our discussion for this video. I hope that wherever you are right now, you are situated comfortably so that you will be able to listen very intently into the discussions that we'll be having for this video lesson. Now, without further ado, let us go directly into our topic. Now, to start, take a look at the picture on this slide. I'm pretty sure that you are very well familiar with the animal that's being flashed on your screen right now. So, of course, this animal is the polar bear, right? Now, what can you say about the polar bear's lifestyle? What are the features of the polar bear that enables it to live in such harsh environments? So we do know that the polar bear resides usually in the polar regions, right? In environments having very cold temperatures. Now, why is it that unlike any other organisms or any other sort of animals, polar bears are some of the few organisms that can survive in such harsh environments. Now, that is because, of course, of the features of the polar bear, right? Some of you would perhaps say that the polar bears have very thick furs, which is also correct. However, one of the main features of the polar bear that enables it to survive in the very cold temperatures of the polar regions in where they reside is the fact that they have a very thick layer of fat covering their entire body. So that very thick layer of fat provides them with an insulation that prevents heat from their body from escaping their system, thus enabling them to survive in the very cold climates of the polar regions. So the fats or lipids, again, is our main focus for our next series of video lessons. So to start, let us define what lipids are. So what are lipids? So according to our definition here, lipids are also known as fats, right? So we commonly know lipids as the fats. Now, known as fats, lipids provide a major way of storing chemical energy and carbon atoms in the body. So one of the main functions of lipids in our body is that they, along with carbohydrates, provide us with a source of energy whenever our body requires it or whenever our body needs them. Aside from that, lipids also provide our bodies, specifically the other macromolecules in our body, with the needed carbon atoms. Now, okay, in relation to what I have said, kanina, regarding the polar bear, so fats surround and insulate vital organs of the body, again, like in the case of the polar bear. Now, they also prevent excessive loss of heat energy, thereby enabling these types of organisms, these types of animals to survive in very cold temperatures. Unlike us humans, if we are to be placed in these very cold climates, areas with very cold climates, then we wouldn't last an hour there because our bodies are not suited, we're not equipped with the necessary um, features or characteristics that would enable us to survive there. Now, aside from that, a layer of fat, a very thick layer of fat, could also provide protection from mechanical shock, right? So think of it as additional layer of protection for your vital organs when you have an additional layer of fat covering your the different organs in your body. Now, lipids are also the basic components of the cell membranes, of our cell membranes. If you can recall your past discussions in your biology subjects, you have been introduced to the topic the bilayer, the lipid bilayer, right? The structural framework of our cell membranes. So most or our cell membranes rather, is mostly composed of lipids, forming the bilayer structure. Now, why is it referred to again as a bilayer? Let's have a short review. Cell membrane structure is, of course, referred to as a bilayer because it is composed of two layers, right? Two layers of lipids congregating to form your cell membrane structure. Now, lipids forming your cell membranes are referred to as amphipathic, meaning when we say amphipathic, these are compounds possessing both a hydrophilic and a hydrophobic component, which is very important since, after all, lipids are not soluble in water, and the environment outside and inside the cell is watery, it's aqueous. Therefore, it is important that lipids have a feature that would somehow still enable them to exist along with the aqueous environment inside and outside of the cell. Therefore, again, lipids forming your bilayer cell membranes are amphipathic in nature. They have both um, a hydrophilic and a hydrophobic component. Now let's go to the structure and classification of lipids. Now, unlike carbohydrates, lipids do not have a common structural feature that serves as the basis for their definition. So, how then can we say if a certain compound is a lipid or not? So, we based it on their solubility characteristics. So instead, their characterization is based on solubility characteristics. That is because lipid is an organic compound found in living organisms that is insoluble, meaning it cannot be dissolved in water, but soluble in nonpolar organic solvents. Okay, now we have five classifications of lipids that are found in the body. Okay, so let's go directly into these five classifications. Starting first with energy storage lipids. So sama sa akong gingon kanina, lipids provide us with a source of energy, or lipids rather, functions as our source of energy along with carbohydrates. So lipids are a very um, dependable source of energy. They provide us with an immediate supply of energy whenever our body needs them. Now, lipids are one of the body's sources of energy. Triacylglycerols, the primary storage form of lipids in the body, are broken down for energy and used in the structural formation of cells. So, the triacylglycerols are the stored form of lipids in our body, the same way as the glycogen is the stored form of carbohydrates in our body, diba? If you can still recall our discussion on carbs, the stored form of carbohydrates in our body is the glycogen. So in the case of lipids, the stored form of lipids in our bodies are the triacylglycerols. So always remember that one. Now, in the body, the fatty acids, which are the building blocks of lipids, are released from these triacylglycerols during fasting to provide a source of energy. So, during fasting, when we have already like spent many hours without food, our body would start tapping on the lipids or the triacylglycerols that are stored in our different parts of the body. So these triacylglycerols are again um, an efficient energy supply whenever our body needs it. So second classification of lipids are the membrane lipids. Again, going back to what I've said kanina regarding the lipid bilayer, diba, which is the structural framework of our cellular membranes. Now, the bilayer structure is attributable to the special properties of the lipid molecules, which cause them to assemble spontaneously into bilayers even under simple artificial conditions. So, what they're going to do is that they would spontaneously hide their hydrophobic components from the watery environment, and they would expose their hydrophilic components into the aqueous environments outside and inside of the cell. So, thirdly, the third classification of lipids are the emulsification lipids, which includes the bile acids. So, what are bile, by the way? What is bile? What are bile acids? So, if you can recall, bile acids are important for the digestion of fats. The fats are not again soluble in water. They do not mix in water. So, how then can our body digest? How can our digestive system digest fats if they are not soluble in water? Take note that our digestive system, um, the insides of our stomach, is primarily composed of water. So, how then can our digestive system digest lipids? So, we are able to digest lipids with the use of or with the help of the bile acids. So, the bile acids, which are contained in the bile, helps in the breakdown of fats in our digestive system via emulsification. Now, bile acids, along with steroid hormones, are derivatives of cholesterol. These function as detergents that emulsify fats in the gut during digestion. So, bile acids, rather, the bile acids are, what do you call this? Produced or released by the liver. So, our liver produces bile acids or bile. When not in use, they will be stored in the gallbladder. So pag gamitin na siya sa tong lawas, the bile produced by the liver will then be released into the small intestine via the bile duct. DUCT, bile duct. So, gamito na sa ato ang lawas ang bile. Now, what happens after bile is used is that dili na siya actually i-release outside of the body, ilabay. What will happen to bile is that it will be brought back to the liver via our bloodstream. So, in a way, mo siya og ma-recycle. Okay? So, the bile will be brought back to our liver and will be again stored into the gallbladder. So the repetitive use, the recycling of the bile produced by the liver is a process or a circulation we refer to as enterohepatic circulation. Enterohepatic. Enterohepatic circulation. Again, enterohepatic circulation refers to the recycling of the bile after it has been used in the small intestine. Although some of the bile, a little amount of the bile would be released into the feces. But mostly, again, most of the bile that is produced by the liver would be brought back gihapon sa liver in a process or in a circulation referred to as enterohepatic circulation. Now, again, bile, along with the steroid hormones in our body, are derivatives of cholesterol. So these detergents, these bile acids, are again secreted from the liver into the gallbladder, where they are stored before being released through the bile duct into the small intestine. Now, after performing an emulsifying action that is essential in fat digestion, they are reabsorbed in the lower small intestine, returned through the blood to the liver, and reused. So, si mo ni akong ginaingon ganina na ma-recycle ra ang bile actually. Dili siya tanan ipagawas out of the body. It will be brought back to the liver and reused in a cycle referred to again as enterohepatic circulation. Now, the fourth classification of lipids are the messenger lipids. Now, these are our steroid hormones, which act as messenger lipids, which are all derivatives of cholesterol. Now, examples of these steroid hormones, which again act as messenger lipids. Now, there are five principal classes of steroid hormones derived from cholesterol. We have the following. We have the progestins, which are active during pregnancy, the glucocorticoids, which are hormones that promote the synthesis of glucose in our body. Number three, mineralocorticoids. What are mineralocorticoids? These are hormones that regulate ion balance in the body. Fourth, we have estrogens. And fifth, androgens. Again, or commonly known rather as our sex hormones. Estrogens for the females and androgens for the males. Now, I would want to focus in these two hormones, the estrogens and the androgens. Now, by the way, estrogens, like what I've said kanina, are sex hormones for the females. They promote female sex characteristics. They are key to the development of sexual functions and characteristics in women during adolescence, which include the menstrual cycle and reproduction, whereas the androgens promote male sex characteristic development. They include any hormone that regulates the development and maintenance of male characteristics. This includes the testosterone, the main male sex hormones. So, speaking of the estrogens and the androgens, so I have told you that estrogens are the main female hormones and the androgens are the main male hormones. Now, does this mean that the female hormones are only present in females and not in males? Or does this mean that the male hormones are only present in males and not in females? So, are the female hormones present in males and vice versa? Yes, that is actually um, Yes, actually. Now, it doesn't mean that the estrogens, which are the female sex hormones, are only present in females. Naagya po na sila makita in adequate small amounts in males. Now, both hormones are actually present in both genders in just the right amounts. So, females have both estrogens and androgens, whereas males have both estrogens and androgens. Now, in males, the testosterone, which is a type of androgen, is the most significant hormone to male sexual development and function. Sama sa kong gingon kanina. However, estrogen, the female sex hormone, is also crucial to male sexuality. A particular form of the female sex hormone estrogen, known as estradiol, must be present in adequate amounts in the male body along with testosterone. So, kining estradiol, this is a form of the female sex hormone estrogen, which should be present in adequate amounts in the male body along with testosterone para maayo o ka-develop ang mga male sexual characteristics. Now, this hormone, the estradiol, help control sex drive, the ability to have and keep an erection and maintain an erection, and the production of sperm. So, see, the female sex hormone actually also plays a very important role in the development of the male sexual characteristics. Now, testosterone naturally decreases as men age. So, magkaedad ang isa ka man, ang iyang testosterone levels would also gradually decrease, whereas estrogen levels would increase. However, this won't be much of a concern unless your estrogen levels are abnormally high. There are cases manggod nga mutaas pag-ayo ang estrogen levels in the male body, which could pose certain nga mga physiological issues in the person involved. So, what are these symptoms in the event that the female sex hormone is high in a male individual? So, symptoms of high estrogen levels in men could include the following. We have first, infertility. Now, estrogen is one of the hormones your body uses to produce sperm. However, high estrogen levels can slow down sperm production and make it harder to create healthy sperm, thereby leading to a possibility of infertility in men. Second, gynecomastia. What is this gynecomastia? Gynecomastia is the result of increased estrogen levels in men, which causes the development of more breast tissue than normal. So, mo increase daw gano ang size sa mudako ang breasts in men that have an increased levels of estrogen in their bodies. Now, high levels can lead to the development of a condition called gynecomastia. This happens when the amount of breast fat tissue is abnormally high. There are certain males nga nagkuog breast size That could be a manifestation of an increased levels of estrogen in their bodies. Third, erectile dysfunction. Now, increased estrogen levels can affect the balance of hormones that are needed to help get an erection and stay erect. This is especially true if you also experience low testosterone. So, an increase in estrogen along with a decrease or low levels of testosterone in your body could lead to erectile dysfunction. Fourth, slowed growth. Yes, slowed growth in men could also be a cause of high estrogen levels. Now, too much estrogen can result in short stature or delayed puberty in boys. There is a phenomena called epiphyseal closure, epiphyseal closure. Epiphyseal closure marks the end of growth of a particular bone in a body. So imagine, ma-stop dunguno ang growth of a particular bone in your body when your estrogen levels are high, thereby leading also to a possibility of a slowed or stunted growth in men. Now, estrogen in both sexes is critical for proper closure of the epiphyseal plate and the cessation of growth. In its absence, growth continues into adulthood. So again, these are the instances or these are possible scenarios that may happen to a certain male individual in case their estrogen levels are higher than normal. So, now it may surprise you to know that men don't have a monopoly on testosterone. So, testosterone is the main androgen hormone, it is the main male sex hormone. However, testosterone is not exclusive to male individuals. That is because females also produces testosterone. Now, the ovaries produce both testosterone and estrogen. Now, relatively small quantities of testosterone are released into your bloodstream by the ovaries and your adrenal glands. Now, in addition to being produced by the ovaries, estrogen is also produced by the body's fat tissue. So, um, the body's fat tissue could also increase estrogen levels in a certain individual's body. Therefore, people who are lacking body fat tissue than normal could pose or could possibly be at risk of too low pod nga estrogen levels in their body. Did you know that athletes are at risk for low levels of estrogen? Now, why is this? Why are athletes at risk for low levels of estrogen? Now, women with low body fat often do not produce sufficient amount of sex hormones. Yes, again, the body's fat tissue could help in the production of estrogen, di ba? So therefore, pag ang isa ka person, pag ang isa ka individual do not have enough body fat, then that could lead to an insufficient amount of these sex hormones. Now, this can be a problem for women such as athletes, models, and gymnasts, which are all um, borderline thin, 'di ba? Thin kaya sila. They have very little to no body fat. So these types of individuals are at risk of having insufficient amounts of sex hormones. Okay? Now, these sex hormones are involved in the growth, maintenance, and repair of reproductive tissues. They also influence other body tissues and bone mass. Now, what will be the effects of high male sex hormones in females? We have the following symptoms. First, irregular or absent menstrual periods. So, irregular menstrual cycles in females could be a possibility of irregular amounts of sex hormones in the body. More body hair than the average woman. So, higher male sex hormones in a female body could lead to the increase of body hair in their body. Third, frontal balding. Yes, frontal balding in females could also be a cause of higher male sex hormones. Fourth, increased muscle mass. Wala nag-exercise pero grabe ka-defined ang muscles. So that is also, or that could also be a cause of high male sex hormones. Fifth, deepening of voice. So dagko nga laglom nga tingog in females could also be a cause of high male sex hormones. And sixth, enlarged clitoris. So again, these are just some of the physiological symptoms of high androgen levels in females. So let's now go to the fifth classification of lipids, which are the protective coating lipids. So from its very name, they provide protection. Examples of these lipids are the wax produced by bees. Your ears also make wax, which are a type of protective coating lipid. It is used to protect the insides of your ear. Plants use wax also to stop evaporation of water from their leaves. So, on the surface of the leaves of plants, there is there's a layer of lipid called cutin that covers the surface of leaves, sealing and protecting plant structures, preventing too much water from evaporating and dehydrating the plant. So these are the 5 classification of lipids. Going back again to first, we have energy storage lipids. Second, we have the membrane lipids. Third, emulsification lipids. Fourth, messenger lipids. And fifth, the protective coating lipids. Okay, so this will be the end of my first video discussion for lipids. So just keep posted for the next ones. In the event that you have any questions regarding my discussions just now, please do not hesitate to message me. Okay, so thank you all for viewing this video lesson, and I'll see you all in the next. Have a great day.